Hi, my name is Pierre Benabi. This is Generation Studios, and I thank you for showing up and listening to what I have to say here. I'm born in Florida, South Florida. You know, I've always lived here, and most of my family lives down here. My father was born in the Bahamas, and he immigrated to America in 1981 at the age of 24, I think. He said he heard Reagan's inaugural speech, and that made him want to become American. You know, and growing up, because of that influence, you know, I've always, I think that's what made me start to love film in a way, because I always grew up watching, you know, movies about America mostly, about those old, you know, those classic movies, you know, about the history of America. My mom also showed me a lot of movies, and you know, she grew up watching a lot of slave movies, and so so that means we also grew up. I have 3 siblings. We also grew up watching a lot of slave movies, and you know, like Amistad, I think Mandingo was one. The Color Purple. My dad used to like that there was a Bahamian actor named I can't remember his name, but he was in a lot of movies in the 80s and 90s. I can't remember his name for some reason, but we watched a lot of his films. A lot of stuff, you know, because I grew up in the 90s, and so we watched a lot of movies from the 70s and 80s. You know, it was my mom that showed me Star Wars for the first time, showed me E.T. for the first time. She was born in Detroit, you know, from an American family, but she always had a sense of adventure. And with her sense of adventure and my dad's sense of love for American culture and Bahamian culture, and he's just a whiz when it comes to history. He can tell you all the lines of kings of Britain down to present day, and just amazing. And we used to lay on the floor watching. We used to have a small little television. We used to lay on the floor and we used to watch like old documentaries, you know, well into the night. And you know, and I remember watching black and white documentaries on the Nazis and you know, the firebombing of Dresden, and then you see the Nazis, you know, goose stepping, you know, and everything. And then my dad used to fill me in on the information that the commentator in the documentary did not mention, you know. And I remember we went to see, I think it was last year, 2018, I think, we went to see Dunkirk. I didn't like the movie, but knowing the history of what really happened, I didn't like the movie, but it was shot beautifully. The storyline and everything else, I don't know what happened there, but it, cinematography wise, it was beautiful. But I remember when I went to the movie with my brother and my father, and we were sitting in there, and as the movie started, my dad he's just talking and talking over the characters, and I can't understand what's happening, because he's saying like, oh, you know what this is? You know what this is? It was showing all the soldiers on the beach, and the British soldiers trying to escape from France across the English Channel back to not the UK, England, and because I think Hitler, or one of Hitler's generals, made an announcement that he's going to wipe out all these British soldiers stuck on the beach. You know, Germany is invading, and the British soldiers are trying to retreat, but their backs are against water. You know, and my dad was saying, he was just filling me in all this stuff. I'm trying to watch the movie, actually. He was just saying this and this and this. Yeah, I did ask him some questions, so I guess maybe I started it, because there was a scene in the film where one of the main soldiers, the main characters, he lines up in these line of troops waiting to get on the boat, because they had like 1 or 2 boats ferrying troops back and forth, but it just wasn't enough. And he's trying to get on this boat, and he stands in line, and the soldier in front of him turns around and says, "This line's for grenadiers, mate." You know, and then I'm like, "What's a grenadier?" You know, it's like, it's the person that just throws grenades, you know. That's what it sounds like. You know, so I asked my dad in the movie, and I think maybe that's like at the very beginning, and I think maybe that's what sparked his commentary. But grenadiers are apparently, I don't know if you can say a branch of the military. It's more like a position where we have Marines and we have Rangers and we have different divisions of the armed forces. They have grenadiers, and then they have, I don't know if they say fusiliers, and all those terms go back, you know, far back to the time of Napoleon when they had those types of, you know, I don't know much about that, but you know, I grew up in a household where, you know, we watched a lot of films together as a family, and we watched a lot of historical films. And then we watch a lot of Disney films, and then we watch a lot of American films. And I think that's where I kind of got I wasn't political, but I had my roots in conservatism, you know, and in traditional values. You know, later when the family divorced and split up, you know, obviously, you know, you're a teenager, and then you go into adulthood and you pick up lots of different ideologies along the way. But later, you know, it always came back to film for me. It always came back to storytelling and characters and stuff like that. And I always grew up trying to draw characters. You know, I was a nerd in school. You know, the days that I went to school, I, you know, wasn't skipping school all the time. I went to 3 different high schools and stuff. You know, I always had a problem with authority because of the divorce that happened around that time. But all that time, film stuck with me. I remember the first time, I think I was like 14 or 15, my mom showed me Lord of the Rings. I was like, what? Like, I've never heard anything like that. You know, it's like, how did I not know? You know, and when she showed me Star Wars and Darth Vader for the first time when I was like 8 or 9, like, those characters blew my mind, and they have so much influence on the person I am today. That's why I know the importance of media, and why it's important for younger generations and our generation to create the right messages in media, because that kind of like writes some of your code inside of your mind, inside of your soul. It puts some of the code in there that helps you develop into the person that you later become. You know, and men especially, we kind of hearken to those stories of male sacrifice, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. And I think it has a lot of negative results and a lot of good results. But, you know, when we think of being the hero, that means something to us. That gives us meaning, for better or for worse. And so we try to emulate it throughout the rest of our lives. And so I see myself very much as a product of creative influences and of conservatism and the lessons history has. The other part of my soul would be Christianity, where, you know, I grew up, our family was Jehovah's Witnesses, and you know, I kind of hate to say it, but I really, looking back now, I'm not sure Jehovah's Witnesses can be classified as Christians per se, but in the end, all that's up to Jesus Christ, and He can save whoever He wants. No one can tell Jesus that He can't save someone, you know. So I can't, I just feel like right now I don't know if that description will work, but yeah, we grew up as Jehovah's Witnesses, the people that knock on your door early in the morning, you know, trying to give you magazines, you know. I don't know if they really still do that, but, and I stopped going to the Jehovah's Witnesses meetings around when our family divorced and separated, which was when I was like around 10, 11. And from 10 to like 18, I started leaning toward atheism, more like agnosticism a little bit. And then at 19, my dad was reading me. He was reading me verse for verse out of the Bible, and I was like, all these religious people, religion's here to just control people and keep the sheep in line, And that's what I was thinking. I was like, but even if I explain this to my dad, he'll never understand. He's just a religious person. They're never going to get it. No matter how much logic I pour at him, show him what religion has done in the world, there's nothing that will change his mind. And as I'm thinking that, he's reading throughout the Bible, and he's reading with his finger really slow. Like, the way you would read to a child. And he read this verse in Ephesians chapter 2, verse 3, I think it's 3 to 10. And it's about how God forgave mankind as a free gift. And I never heard that in my life. I must have heard that scripture growing up so many times, but because I guess God saw that I wasn't ready to hear it, I didn't understand it until then. And I was like, wait. I said to my dad, wait, read that again? And it was like, eternal life is a free gift. And it's like he made it free so that no one can earn it, so no one can boast about it. I was like, free gift? So so everyone can just go to heaven for free? And he was like, that's what it means. And that's what is completely lost on people today. That God is not requiring anything from humans to either live right or do right, except to put your trust and faith in Jesus Christ. And when that happens, he comes in to try to convert your actions, your beliefs, and your very body one day into what he is. And so it's like up until 19, I don't know, so many things changed after that. And then for the next maybe like year or two, I just spent researching and looking in the history of Christianity, looking through the scriptures to see if Christianity really is what it said it was. I did a lot of research. I went to a lot of atheist websites. I listened to a lot of atheist speeches and talking points because I wanted to test my beliefs to make sure that they're correct. And I didn't want to be accused of believing in something that I didn't understand, or didn't know anything about. So, and during that time, I was also in college trying to figure out what I was trying to do with my life. And then I eventually went to university and I decided to go into film.